Good day and welcome to SCO BRICS Insight, where we look at what's really going on in the world of the BRICS. Now, today I want to talk more about the relationship between the US and China and their ongoing microchip and technology war, which has moved up a gear again. And they're banned by another commodity that China has done that will have a devastating effect on the US military-industrial complex. Now, China has imposed a ban on the export to the United States of a number of materials important for the production of microelectronics and specialised equipment in the military sphere. Now, these materials are subject to embargo, include gallium, germanium, antimony and certain super hard materials. Now, the US is currently investing heavily in its military capabilities, but in addition to the challenge associated with scaling up production, there's more significant issues to consider. Now, one of these issues has unexpectedly been a metal with the beautiful name of antimony, or antimony even, antimony, SB. Now, it's well known that other important minerals, but no less important for many sectors of the economy, particularly the military-industrial complex. In the US, for example, it's considered so important for defence purposes that it's even ranked above rare earth metals in these indicators. Now, antimony is set to become as renowned as other metals with a wide range of industrial applications, which include copper, nickel and cobalt. Now, there are several other reasons for this, in addition to its enormous importance for the military-industrial complex. Firstly, the quantity of antimony available on the planet is limited. Secondly, the cost of antimony keeps rising and its availability keeps dropping. I mean, it's just enough to note that in 2024 alone, the price went up by 300%. Now, this is related to the fact that on the 3rd of December, antimony went up by 40% in one day, the day that that China decided that it was banning all exports for the moment to anywhere. Now, before I continue, I'd like to make an appeal. If you like and enjoy my videos, you can help me fund the channel and my website, scobricsinsight.com, to further develop it. Now, you can do this by making a small donation, which you can do by clicking on the thanks button at the bottom of the video screen. Now, everybody who donates does get a personal thank you from me, and I'm thanking you all now just for watching. Now, it's worth noting that according to analysts, the upward trend in antimony prices are going to continue well into 2025 due to the increase in number of armed conflicts that are taking place globally and the reduction in supplies from China. Therefore, it's possible there will be another significant increase in the demand for antimony. In Beijing, the strategic importance of this metal, or rather the silvery white semi-metal, is fully understood. They get it. As with the market for rare earth metals, for example, they have significantly limited exports. It's the same approach being taken in this case. The ban on antimony exports by Beijing has caused significant concerns in the West, which now has to consider antimony as yet another strategically important raw material of which they have become heavily dependent on China. Now, the US and its allies, or shall we say vassals, must urgently develop antimony mining and production to avoid potential security and defence crises in the future. I mean, China has the dominant position in the global market for many minerals that are essential for various aspects of the economies, and these include antimony, which is important, as I mentioned, for defence. Is difficult to overstate. It is crucial. Now, it's a critical ingredient for the production, for example, of 155mm artillery shells, which is the primary type of ammunition used in various conflicts that are taking place. Now, the new artillery factories that are opening up in Europe and the United States need additional antimony for their operation that's just not available due to Beijing's ban on its export. Now, why did China take this? Well, China's just acting in response to the latest tightening of sanctions against Chinese importers and producers of microchips, which is arguably the most serious to date. I mean, the first stages of the chip war were initiated by the United States in the late 2010s when the Trump administration imposed sanctions on Huawei and a number of other Chinese technology companies. Now, despite Beijing's strong vocal opposition, it didn't actually prompt any serious retaliatory measures. However, the situation intensified under Joe Biden, and in October 2022, Washington increased the unprecedented restrictions targeting the Chinese semiconductor industry with the aim of inflicting serious long-term damage. Now, these developments occurred with the enactment of the Chip and Science Act, a series of measures designed to foster the localization of semiconductor production in the United States and narrowing the gap between the industry leaders, which are South Korea and Taiwan. Now, these measures were implemented in the context of the race for artificial intelligence, which requires significant computing power. So while the United States justifies the restrictions on military grounds, that doesn't actually align with reality. I mean, as usual for the US, anything anybody does is a threat to US security, and every product has a military use, like shovels and Russian shovels and washing machine chips. You know, for the majority of military applications, microchips on the 90nm processes, which were considered state-of-the-art in the early 2000s, are still more than sufficient for most military applications. And the impact wasn't as significant as initially anticipated, and it became evident the Chinese were continuing to make headway in the production of their own memory chips. Plus, Huawei successfully launched a new model of its phone with a Kirin processor based on 7nm process technology, which is prohibited from being supplied to China on any chips below 14nm. Now, the US was unable to swiftly suppress China's semiconductor industry, so it began to exert pressure on the manufacturers of equipment and components, with particular focus on the lithographic machine manufacturers, the Dutch ASML. Now, despite the inability to supply China with machines capable of producing chips using the latest EUV technology, ASML was required to more strictly limit the supply of even older equipment that could still be used to produce 7nm chips. However, these measures still didn't produce the desired results. I mean, the Americans never give up, do they? Subsequently, the American administration announced another round of restrictions. Not that they'll do any good, of course. I mean, the export of any equipment or components to 140 different Chinese companies, including Nora Technology Group, have been prohibited. Now, this firm is of particular interest due to its involvement in the manufacturing of capital goods, specifically the equipment for and processes for use in production of microchips. I mean, since April, the firm's been attempting to gain expertise in the production of photolithographic equipment, which is a market currently dominated by ASML. Now, these efforts to establish comprehensive semiconductor self-sufficiency are what is really winding up Washington. They don't want anybody to have the technology that they have, even if they develop it themselves. And that's not welcome news for companies that do business with China. Many of them rely on the Chinese market as a source of revenue and growth opportunities. Now, the potential loss of that market share could have a significant impact on their financial performance and future prospects. Also, there's a concern that China may take retaliatory action, that the firm's monopoly or near monopoly positions in the market may be threatened. So we shall see. However, in the past, such players have repeatedly attempted to circumvent the restrictions, and recently, as October, Japanese companies were threatened with sanctions if they didn't comply. I mean, the US loves its sanctions. It loves to threaten and bully and cajole and whatever. And then it screams when anybody does something it doesn't like. You know, it's what's called a cry-bully. Now, it looks like the US is going to be left without crucial materials for its industrial sectors, because China's just not going to hang about anymore. I mean, on December the 3rd, it enacted a complete ban on gallium, germanium and antimony to the United States. That's it, blanket ban. Plus the export of certain super hard materials was prohibited. These restrictions are also on the supply of graphite, which has also been tightened. So it's clear that the Chinese have the ability to use supplies of strategic materials as a weapon in the same way as the Americans have been sanctioning the Chinese. I mean, they've got the monopoly on it, and it's up to the West to overcome this. I mean, it's not as if these gallium, germanium are that rare, they're just difficult to produce. I mean, there's 16 parts per million of gallium is produced in the earth, but you've got to extract it from other elements, and that's where the problems arise. So unless the West, particularly the US and Europe, get around to dealing with these dirty distributing jobs of getting the rare earth metals, they're not going to succeed. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this short video. If you like, please subscribe, please share, and if you're feeling generous, click on the thanks button. And I'll see you all again soon. Thank you.